was living in Laurel, Maryland, basically where I grew up, and uh, Marty. Are you familiar with Marty Friedman, the name
Yes.
guitar player? Okay.
Yes.
So
Megadeth.
yeah, it was about that time. Marty was in a band. Not. We'll talk about the martial arts thing in a minute, but I had a house,
Okay.
and Marty was in a band called Hawaii,
Uh-huh.
and my friend Bob Shade. I was friends with Marty. Me and Marty used to go to school together.
Uh-huh.
So Marty actually got a hold of me, or somebody got a hold of me, and wanted me to be the second guitar player in this band called Hawaii
Okay.
with Marty. Now back then, Marty. If you ever listen to Marty's stuff, he's an extraordinary guitar player. Uh, I wasn't that extraordinary back then. I'm probably not that extraordinary now if you're looking at Marty Friedman.
Yes.
But so they were practicing at my house. Well, at the same time, I was I got in. I got into the martial arts thing. I went to this school and started training for that stuff. And I had a bag in my basement where we were rehearsing at. And I used to have this kick bag down there. And it was just funny, they all used to come and kick the bag and stuff, but it was a lot of fun. I used to do board breaking demonstrations in my hometown. Like, what they would do is they would take people from the school, from our karate school, and we would have to go in front. We'd go to like a elementary or junior high school, and they would have us do board breaking demonstrations. So, and it was a lot of fun, you know what I mean? We'd get up there and just, break boards and do spin kicks and break boards. It was a lot of fun. When I moved to New York, I started thinking about it, because I used to compete, and I got quite a few trophies for it. I used to compete. I went to a tournament in New York. This was after I moved to New York. And I went to a tournament, and I was with an Asian friend of mine that I had friended in New York. We went to this tournament, me and my friend, and I watched these guys literally. I mean, you don't even know how brutal it is till you're on the outside looking in. And you go, wow, really? Like you can, somebody's going to get hurt. You know what I mean? Somebody in that ring, probably somebody's going to get hurt. So I started thinking about it, and I got out of it for quite a while. I didn't even want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? Not even realizing. I liked it when I did it.
Right.
My last tournament, because I had stopped for a while, and there's a martial artist by the name of Ernie Reyes Jr. And I think he played in that Chuck Norris show that Chuck Norris had. I think he was Chuck's son or something. I don't remember exactly. He was the judge of my tournament, and I won like the first two rounds, mm-hmm. And then as the people got better, mm-hmm. that were fighting me, I knew that I wasn't the person anymore that I thought I was.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And I decided at that point, I'm just going to get out of this while I alive. You know what I mean? So, but it was fun, man. I did what I did. You go through life and you want to do things. You know what I mean? I did that. I accomplished it, and then I just moved on. But yeah, getting back to the Marty Friedman thing that we were talking about. Marty's a dear friend of mine. I've known Marty for a long, long time. He's living in Japan.
I read that somewhere.
Yeah, he's
Uh-huh.
doing well.
Yeah.
God bless him. He's doing what he wants to do.
So you were talking about, you go through these things and sometimes you want to do things. So you lived in New York.
Mm-hmm.
We've established that. And you've lived in California.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done any acting?
You must know something. Oh boy, you would bring that up, wouldn't you? Okay. Yeah, you know what, man? I dabbled in it. I was never.
Did you really?
I'm not an actor. I dabbled in it for a little bit.
I could totally see you on General Hospital.
Yeah, I dabbled in it when I first moved to L.A. I wasn't working, and my girlfriend at the time, the woman that I wound up marrying afterwards, she was working, so she was kind of supporting the whole thing. So I said, you know what? Let me find something on the side. So I looked in the paper, and there were these acting things. You could go on set, and So they had this big company called Central Casting, and I said, I'm going to give it a try. So because I had long hair back
Okay.
then, they actually called me up for the Flintstones movie. So they were looking for somebody with long hair. You had to be kind of like a Neanderthal
Uh-huh.
type. So I got the gig as a busboy. So if you look at the Flintstones movie, the one with John Goodman and who else was in it? Rick Moranis, is that
Right.
his name? Um, uh, there's a scene in there where they're in a restaurant
Okay.
and the B-52s are playing.
Right.
And if you
I
look,
remember that
yeah,
part.
if you look past John Goodman, you can see me walking back and forth. I was a busboy. So I'm carrying this bus tray and I'm busting off all the tables, but they glued a beard on me. It was horrible. I mean, I wanted to itch the beard off. It was so horrible. I mean, but they paid me good money. So
Cool.
that's why I did it. But yeah, you can see me in the background with the beard, and yeah, that's me.
That is so amazing.
That's me.
Speaking of things that I want to ask you about that I may or may not get an answer,
Okay.
I'm thinking about this beautiful sunbeam, this beautiful face,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it looked like you guys had a really wonderful thing going. I mean, and her name was so fitting for her to me. She was such a beautiful girl. When she smiles, her whole face lit up. There was a picture that I would love to see of you guys, walking down the boardwalk. And you two were smitten. What happened?
First of all, I met her I did a concert down it was close to Daytona Beach. I can't remember exactly where it was. It was like a 3-day concert, and I invited her on Facebook to the show. So that's how we actually met, and we hung out that night, and we just got really close. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, uh, I wound up moving down to Florida. I gave up everything in Nashville, moved down to Florida, and I know you talked to her on Facebook a little bit, so I know you guys are kind of Facebook friends. But
I adore her.
yeah, yeah, and it was a good for 6 months. It was a good relationship. It got to a point where I didn't I just didn't think it was going to go anywhere because she's much younger than I was, and she had ideas. I had ideas of what I wanted to do, and I laid in bed at night, and I just didn't know how much longer that it was gonna work out, and it was a mutual split up. It wasn't just my idea to split up. It was mutual. I think that she had figured out that it wasn't going to go much further
I
than
see.
than than where it was, and we talked about marriage. We talked
Right.
about having kids, um, and I thought we were. You know what I mean? There was a time where I was like, wow, this is the girl I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And we'd always get Facebook messages about us as a couple, and yeah, that picture of us walking on the boardwalk. That's probably one of my favorite
Love it.
all-time pictures.
Love it.
That they captured that picture, and it's that yeah,
A lot of us were rooting for you guys. It just seemed like the perfect match,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
We thought it was.
So I just want to get on the subject of you and Sonny. I know that you two broke up, and from those of us who were rooting for you, it looked like you guys had a really wonderful thing going there.
Hmm.
And it was really disappointing and surprising to see that it, came to an end. And what I really would like to know, and did you did you cheat on her? Was there any infidelity at all? Hi, everybody. It's Lori Starr coming at you. Thank you so much for watching part two of the three-part series Up Close and Personal with Jimmy Allan Sine. Are you getting to know a lot about Jimmy? I know I got to learn a lot about Jimmy doing this interview. Please tune in to part three, the final part of Up Close and Personal, where we'll get to know what's in Jimmy's future and find out a few surprises about Jimmy that you may not have known. So thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for watching.
I never meant to hurt you when I walked away. So confused, should I go or should I stay? You know your mind can get clouded, even on a sunny day. Driving my car the other day, I passed a little ice cream shop where we used to hang, sit around and talk about all the things that we want to do. I can taste your tears rolling down my face. I'm living in fear, someone taking my place. You know my mind can get clouded, even on a sunny day. I passed your house the other night, and all I saw was a room with a light, where we used to hang out and watch the crazy TV screen. And talking to the neighbors, they said you're doing fine. They saw you at the special place where we